Hello, everybody out there. It is I, once again, the ghoul, coming back to you in your tubes. That's right. The tube that you're watching this on, the computer tube. She's back again with some of my greatest friends in gaming. It's the greatest show with your friends that are gonna game every Friday. Girl, you know how it is, girl. Ooh, girl. All right. I also have musical talent too. Okay,
you get it.
Bonsai Da Baby, Emma, Monique the Freak, as we're calling her in streets. Hi y'all, it's so good. Look at all this beautiful femme energy. Yes, we've taken over our beautiful faces. Yes. It's great to see you guys all back again. Emma, you're back from the great South, the great dark South, the land of which we do not speak, also known as Los Angeles.
I was gonna say, are we? Los Angeles is great.
Okay,
I like it.
That's something that nobody says. I love that perspective.
Maybe I guess I wasn't technically in Los Angeles. I was in La Crescenta, is a place, Burbank, Zuma Beach. So I was kind of around the orbit of Los Angeles. So maybe if I went into the city
you
proper,
avoided the
I would
traffic.
have different. Yeah,
you avoided the traffic.
There was a lot of traffic. I was driving on the roads. They have roads there that are like 8 lanes wide, and everyone's going like 80 miles per hour, and exciting and stressful. It was nice. Sun was warm. It touched me. I like that part. and then the sun goes down. It's a desert, right? So the sun goes down and it's beautiful. So, and there's succulents everywhere in the wild. So not in your home anymore. You just walk by and there's a huge aloe plant, and it's really cool. So I like that part too.
You watched The Suicide Squad, not to be confused with Suicide Squad.
Completely.
And this is not a sequel. It just has a new article in front of it.
Yeah, completely different movie that just happens to have some of the same characters in it, but reimagined in a better way in some cases.
Oh, you liked it better than the first one?
I didn't see the first one, but the... for some reason, I watched the Harley Quinn movie, the Birds of Prey, and then this, and like I like the way that they're presenting a woman character who can be messy and female, and just like a feminine energy, masculine energy, just be like gross in some ways, and that's okay. Like that's so rare for that to be something, and just like this very complex character, and be a badass who just beats people up. So like I just love the representation of a woman in kind of a new way. Is my big thing. Yeah,
that's why Harley Quinn is the best. Not a comic book character. She was created later and is like one of the most beloved characters. Bonsai, you also saw it, and you also got some Kickstarters in the mail. What did you think of the movie? And what did you get?
Okay, so this is my hill. I'm going to die on this hill and say that the Suicide was better than the first one. This is the one that I thought the original first movie was supposed to be.
I agree.
All right.
I don't think that's a hill. I think literally 100% of people agree with
most
my
people
hill.
agree with that.
That's not.
You don't have to die.
Well, I'm just saying. Also, I'm very excited. Look, I've been hunting for this since the pandemic started, and I got my hands on Root.
Ooh, nice.
Yes. Did you know that the expansions are very easy to get, but the original copy for this is very hard to get, and I especially wanted to go ahead and support my friendly local gaming companies. I could have tried to order online, but I rather just actually support, places. So we finally got one.
Wait, so where did you go? Where did you get it?
I went to Tacoma.
Okay. But the friendly local game store that you're supporting, which store is this?
Oh God, I forgot its name right now. Why there's pressure? There's pressure.
We'll come back to it. We're supporting our
Whenever you think of it, just shout it out.
Yeah,
I'll just randomly shout it out.
Friendly local game store in Tacoma.
In Tacoma.
Maybe someone in chat will get it. Chat, help us out here.
Chat, can you help? There's like one. And also I got this on Kickstarter. Colossal. It's basically, think of like, imagine that our world like all of human existence just like get wiped out, right? And then these new existence and new people exist in our living rooms, and all of their world is just the living room. And they're tiny people. It's not the Barrows, because the Barrows work and live with humans, versus these are just discovering ancient bones of huge, gigantic people. And it's a great solo RPG.
Cool.
Oh,
That sounds
I
really
love it. And
cool.
it's solo. That sounds so exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is one of those. So very excited. So yeah, it's just like, imagine the whole, like your living room is a whole world to somebody. And that's the whole idea about it. Yeah.
I
It's
love
like
the Borrowers and Arietti. So that's like
it's like that, but post-apocalyptic.
that, but make it dark.
Yeah, I love that. Monique, speaking of something that you're not doing that's not dark, you're doing some charity streams, I hear.
I am. So this Sunday at, I believe, 1 p.m. Pacific time, I will be with Brutal Dan, that's BR00TALDAN, on Twitch. We are going to be raising money for Extra Life. I will be there with Crystal Dax from Board Game Blitz, Panda Angel, and from Twitch, and Brain, Danny, and Ella from Ella Loves Board Games, and Doug, who's new to me, but also is a designer, co-designer, one of the designers, I believe, of Kids on Bikes. So we are doing something super wholesome, and we're also going to be a little spooky about it, and I'm really excited.
Rad. That sounds awesome.
Cool.
And people can find out more information about that on your Twitter/Twitch stream.
Yep, you can follow me on Twitch, Instagram, or Twitter, and I'll be hosting the channel on my channel, but we'll be on Danny's channel, and I've been posting about it on social media, so I'll be on all those things.
Awesome. All right, watch that, suckers. It's gonna be great. All right, speaking of things that are actually really cool as well, Monique, thank you for coming in with all this good positive news. I hear you have some announcements from a new gaming company that's Black woman led. Hell yeah. Tell us more about it.
So we got this news from a website called Because of Them We Can, which is absolutely, I wanted to give that a shout out like real quick up front. Because of Them We Can just basically promotes like diversity and like what the Black community is doing in all kinds of places, in games, in restaurants, and where they're breaking history, like Angela Bassett being one of the highest paid Black women in TV history. I just wanted to shout that out. It was another story because I love Angela Bassett like so much. But so Because of Them We Can put out an article about A+X, which is a Black woman who was delivering her baby in the hospital, and noticed that like of all like the other toys that they had kids to play with and like kids, like their baby toys and things like that, there was just a supreme lack of diversity in letting Black children in any kid of color be magical. And so what they've done is create these puzzles where it takes a little bit of like I grew up playing the Candylands, and it feels like that Lisa Frank energy and that like Candyland energy, where it's just like everything, like they have like these the spaceship that's like leaving the planet, and there's like lollipop trees and stuff like that. And so and that is huge for like very, very, very many brown children who don't really get to be featured in anything that's wholesome, positive, and magical, where they're not being cast as something scary or, you know, sinister. So it's like, they definitely check those out. They have race cars, they have like little magical candy forests, they have spaceships and dinosaurs. So I'm super excited. I think this is going to be a really, really good gift for just any family with kids, to be honest. They're just simple little puzzles with great artwork.
Yeah.
I think any family with kids. I mean, like, it's not something that's specifically about like, you know, just for Black children. I think that children of all different backgrounds can really benefit from having their world be littered with, not littered, but being colored with different kinds of faces. I think that that's really cool. And I don't know, I'm always kind of distressed because it's like the first in 2021. And I'm like, God, like, come on, like, we're still doing first.
Yeah, we're still doing first. I'll still take it. Woo!
It's progress.
But it is progress. Yeah. And that's really cool. And the fact that she did this while she was like preggers is very Like, girl,
What-
Yeah, no, that's
Even above and beyond that, part of it looks like it happened. Her twins were delivered early, and they were in the NICU. They were in the ward for like 10 weeks early, and during this
Oh.
period of the children like struggling to survive, creating these puzzles. It's just like amazing badassness.
Yeah. You know, that she wanted to do something good for them, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm sure that probably helped her mind as well. And I think that, you know, for a lot of people, puzzles is a really great way of handling stress and dealing with stress. And like, especially doing puzzles can teach kids kind of like how to focus their energy and things like that. And so this is a really great, it's a great story. It made me feel very good.
I love them.
It kind of makes me think of like maybe during this, like, of course, the babies are in ICU, that she's imagining the scenarios of her kids going out in these, you know, to cope. It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Oh my God. So fuzzy. All right. Going into things that do not make you feel so fuzzy, or maybe they do. Maybe you're a unique person out there who just gets the tingles and the bingles when you think about copyright law. But we're going to be going into some really strange Magic the Gathering copyright stuff. Banzai, please explain this.
Hey, you know what's always fun? Lawyers and legality. That makes everybody smile. And you want to know what happened basically this week? Not like in their tiny sphere of circles of people who like to be provocateurs, as I say, trying to like kind of poke and test what you can do with laws. Robert Hoven, how do you pronounce it? Hovden? Yes.
Sure.
Yes, sure. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. It's a copyright.
My name's copyrighted. Get it right.
He's most well known for selling some prints of like basically going in and selling like these pieces of like artwork, but also having on a very microscopic level sketches of MC Hescher's work, like etched in like a small corner, to just kind of challenge what, like, the whole idea is that, like many like people who want to try to challenge a lot of the systems, especially systems that are very much broken, like copyright, like copyright laws. He tries to challenge and be like, hey, look, this is how messed up this is. If somebody like me can do this and either get punished for something that you cannot even see with a human eye or regular microscope, like, this is how broken the system is. So his most recent stunt is copywriting a non-competitive thematic deck called Angels and Demons. If you're not familiar with a lot of Magic decks, it's just like it's a deck that is not even legal in standard form. It's very, like, the whole idea is that he's being very tongue-in-cheek about this kind of thing, just to say, like, hey, I could, like, buy the definition of copyright that I'm just going to get off of the basic Google search is it's basically you own the exclusive rights to print, publish, perform, film, or record literacy, artistic, or musical material. That's basically what encompasses what is copyright. So this person, what he is basically doing is saying, like, hey, look at how broken it is that I can go ahead and assemble this collection of cards and copyright it. So if anybody plays this, even if it's not tournament legal, can get slapped because I technically own the rights for it, which is, I don't know, how do y'all feel about this? It's just,
I mean, the thing so this is a troll, right? Like, first of all, I don't understand, like, why he's picking on Magic the Gathering out of all the things that he could kind of pick on. There's so many other things that you could do with copyright laws. My friends and I have had long conversations about whether those full body pillows that you can buy at anime conventions fall under copyright laws or not. But that's another conversation for another day.
I'm like, I have questions, but I'll leave them.
You guys know what I'm talking about, those full body pillows.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Super helpful when pregnant too.
Yeah, it's good for your back. So this idea is like he copyrighted this deck of cards, but it's non-competitive and it's non-legal, so you can't really play them in the tournament anyway. This is kind of just all for show. He's just doing this to kind of show that you could, he's showing you that you could do this, which kind of opens the door for somebody else to do this, where they could actually copyright something that is a competitive card, that is a competitive deck. And he's just doing it to show that it's possible to mess up the copyright in gaming, which is like, why, man? Why you gotta do that? Can you do something else? Can you help us get rid of, I don't know, the injustices of the world, maybe? Education, healthcare. You got to do this, man. So now, like, there could be some other weirdo out there who's like, oh, wow, I could mess with the copyright claims for card games and for not only Magic, but then maybe there's also other games that kind of fall in this mystical kind of loophole of copyright claims, where the game is, where you can play the games, but also it's not copyrighted, because like you can't copyright Angels and like it's just, it's opening up this kind of possibility of there being more problems. And I just need him to go outside and I need him to touch some grass. I need him to just put his hands through some freshly mowed lawn grass and stop it. I don't understand this. What's the point? It's just causing more problems.
I mean, it's okay to have a hobby, but maybe you could try playing Magic instead of finding the copyrights.
Yeah, this, I mean, I'm just sitting this whole time. Just, it is frustrating, but the laws themselves are the problem, and the laws can be good and can protect people. So you have and are in place. If you have a small business or something, you know, there's to protect yourself, but how they end up being used is for large corporations to screw people over, and things like this, people finding loopholes and potentially doing some annoying and dangerous stuff with just getting them. Like my questions are, okay, so you copyright a standard legal deck. Is that just in paper? Is that on Arena? Can you not play the deck on Arena? If you switch out a single card of the deck, the copyright doesn't apply anymore. So it's not that broad, but you could just be caught out doing it. You make on Arena, you just put cards together and like, haha, I'm just playing this deck, you know, not knowing about the copyright. And then people start copywriting decks, and then you get hit for just playing your game. Is it only in tournament play? Is it only in play where you can potentially win money? Does it apply when different card styles are used? And the issue is that the lawyers and legal people behind the copyright laws know absolutely nothing about Magic the Gathering, right? They don't know all the subtleties of, like, there's 50 different card styles for this card. They don't know what they've given a copyright out for. You know, they're just like, sure. And when you hear copyright, you assume somebody's really thought it through and knows all the stuff that's going on there, but they don't know this stuff, you know?
And I think that's his point. His point is to point at all of these different problems, and for people to look at it and say, this is an issue, this is a potential issue. And I guess maybe I was being too harsh about, actually, no, he does need to touch some grass, but we could all touch some grass, really, if you think about it. But yes, he is pointing out issues in the system that is wrong with copyright. It does seem, though, like a very strange hobby to me to do, but yeah, there are a lot of potential issues. I'm just wondering if the effect of this is going to be a strengthening of those copyright laws, which I doubt, or if it'll just show people how to, like, contribute to the mess more. I don't know.
Yeah. And Magic is interesting too, because the competitive scene and the professional scene, so people who professionally play Magic the Gathering for money as their career, is in complete upheaval now that they completely got away, that they're destroying the whole competitive structure of Magic the Gathering and haven't said, if they're going to put anything in its place. So everything for tournaments going forward, you know, what they're going to be doing about is professional Magic even going to be a thing, you know? But it also speaks to other games in the future that like if Netrunner is still a thing, a Netrunner deck, could you do that and then go into someone's house and say like, oh, you can't play this configuration of cards, or other Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, other trading card games, you know? It's just,
I think that what we've learned from this is don't ever be a lawyer. I think we've learned don't send your kids to lawyer school. It's just a bad idea.
I need to write that parody. Baby, don't let your kid grow up to be a lawyer.
Yes, exactly what I was referencing. So bringing it back to, oh my God, my earring just exploded off my face. Sorry about that. Bringing it back to legal issues. We've had conversations over the past feels like years, months of the abuses that are inside of the gaming community. And we have unfortunately, another scandal that's going on with another accusations of abuse that are happening inside of the gaming community. We've talked about this earlier about whether or not we wanted to cover this, and we know that it's a very sensitive subject, and we want to respect people's feelings and triggers around these sorts of things. So if you're not comfortable with that, we totally understand. But at the same time, we also talked about how we think it's important to talk about the issues inside of our community, and that being silent doesn't actually help victims at all. And it only helps abusers to continue the perpetuation of their abuse if we remain silent about it. So just to give you guys kind of a bit of a content warning about the next topic, Greg Spence, who is the CEO of Broken Token, which some of you might be familiar with, his abusers have recently spoken up about this. Emma, do you want to kind of explain a little bit more about what Broken Token is in the gaming world?
Yeah, sure. So Broken Token is a company that is known for gaming, board game accessories, and board game inserts, probably most famous for the very special custom-made inserts that go into the board game box and really help to organize, especially heavy Euro games with a lot of pieces, Gloomhaven, that kind of thing. The games, they have their own inserts sometimes, but a lot of times not quite enough if you're taking this stuff out a lot of times, and it can be nice to have things set up in a nice way. So a company that has kind of pioneered the insert industry.
Mm-hmm. And a former employee of Broken Token has come out with allegations of harassment, assault, mental, emotional abuse, and stalking from the CEO, Greg Spence, of this company. And, you know, we've talked before about Blizzard and Riot. And, you know, a lot of the chatter that was going online was people saying, you think it's just Blizzard. It's not. It's pervasive throughout the entire industry, large companies and small companies. And this is just another kind of puzzle piece in that whole exposing of this. It's kind of the post Me Too movement that's happening in gaming as well. The CEO, I guess we should say, responded on Twitter, denying all of the accusations as well. But, you know, I think that when looking at these sorts of things, the victims, they always face harassment afterwards. They're always like, you know, doxxed and abused. I mean, we've talked about Gamergate, which was a horrible time to be a woman on the internet, you know. And I've seen horrific comments about people speaking out against Blizzard. You know, my standing about this is like, it's just games, and games are not worth people's lives, people's health, people's mental stability, you know. And it just, it's sad because I'm not surprised. I'm just disappointed and sad, you know?
Yeah, I just want to say, for anyone out there who might be on the fence or think all of a sudden all these people are coming forward, all these different thoughts that are happening, or it just comes out of nowhere. You know, there's a lot of people still having time processing, even though it's happening again and again recently, because there is more support and more structures in place, and people are, for whatever reason, finally able in one way or another to say these things that have been happening for years. And for every story that you see out there, there are dozens of stories, little incidents to huge abuses that never, ever see the light of day. So you are only just scratching the surface of the kinds of things that we go through. Every single woman, you know, I'm sure every single woman on this screen has countless stories that we could share. And, you know, it's just like, it happens from the smallest microaggressions to the worst cases of abuse. And if you are a person out there who feels this isn't happening, or who wants to know what you can do, just when you see the small things happening, I think is the biggest thing. Because what they're saying, people around this person, and I'm hearing stories say people had seen things happening and they had heard things, and it was always just like, oh, it's not as bad as you think. It's a personal matter. It's a relationship matter. Just stay out of their personal business. And that's the big problem. That's why this stuff continues to happen, because people, and mostly, you know, men, other men being in people in positions of power to say things and to stop things are the ones who really need to step up here.
For sure. Yeah. And I think that, you know, one of the things is that if you see that something is happening, you're probably not seeing the full extent of that thing. You know, abusers, you know, don't do a lot of their abuse out in the open. So believing and supporting survivors and victims, and jumping into action, I think is the best sort of a thing. And for me, I think this kind of behavior and this kind of stuff has no place in games whatsoever. And so I think that the more, just like you said, Emma, like, we are a culture now that is doing more to support, and we're speaking out more. It's not that the victims are, you know, there's more people making accusations. It's just more people are being heard more. Than they were before. So yeah. So a number of game companies also have immediately ended their relationship with Broken Token, including Evil Hat Productions, which produces Fate, Selfa Low Fair Games, which produces Gloomhaven, and Gray Fox Games, which produces Champions of Midgard. So, you know, that is good to see that companies do immediate action instead of sort of waiting around and, like, you know, stuff like that. So yeah, this is a hard one, but in your personal life, know that we here at Gen Con do not support abuse. We do not support abusers, and we believe and support survivors every single day. So moving on to some news that is also not controversial, but like kind of what's going on with this? There's a 1,000-year vampire controversy with a new companion book, which is kind of sort of the same book, but kind of sort of not the same book, but also $54 extra. Bonsai, can you explain more about this?
All right. If you guys are buckled in, so Tim Hutchings, the designer of 1,000-Year-Old Vampire. If you don't know, it's a solo RPG where you play a vampire who slowly over the years, like humans do, but except you're a vampire because you live forever, you slowly lose the memories of who you have interacted with, who your loved ones are, what you did during the time, and things like begin to warp in your head. It's all about playing through memories and how they, you know, how you react over time. Because somebody who was your enemy, you could remember fondly as your friend, and how like time disorients what you remember. So the designer Hutchins did come out, recently announced a pre-order, very, very cryptic pre-order. You can go ahead and see where he suggests not to buy it, but only if you really like. It's not going to be an RPG. It's not going to be anything that you're like trying to like be very vague and elusive about what the product you're getting. They're just like, hey, maybe you don't want to pre-order this book. It's not going to be something that is like a work of art or like, you know, like something with like a journal. It's not something you can actually physically like use that much. It's just going to be something that you get and you will be surprised at the end. So what people have started posting about, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and see what they bought it, the $54 books. They got the box and opened it to find the copy of the 1,000-Year-Old Vampire, but with things removed and taken out. And like, instead of having even the name or like the title on there, it's all like wiped and faded away from memory. A lot of the pages are blank and missing. And there's like essentially things scribbled out, blacked out, a kind of thing. So it like in much of the sense, I could understand. This is from, okay, let's put our like artistic hat appreciation on. Okay. This is in most ways a very performative art that people were buying for $55 to represent what is actually going on in the mind of somebody who has played the game. Is the artistic hat that I have. I know not a lot of people share my opinion. We could talk about that. Let's talk about that because people have words. And yeah, that's just if you put your artistic like connoisseur hat on, that is what I see this as. But yes, why don't you all share your feelings about what folks have gotten in the package?
Well, well, okay.
Yeah.
Monique, you go ahead.
I will leave the quote for you. But from an artistic standpoint, I myself am a huge fan of things, and I will sometimes spend a ridiculous amount of money on a thing because it's directly related to the thing that I'm super passionate about. And I won't judge myself for that. They live in like places of high esteem in my room. If I had an experience with 1,000-Year-Old Vampire where I wanted something to put on the shelf, be like, yes, this is like, you know, maybe not a trophy shelf, but like, this is an experience that I want to make sure that like, this experience is so good. I want to have a permanent art piece dedicated to it. That makes sense. I don't know if, I don't know how good the game is, and I don't know if I don't know if it's like $55 good or $54 good. I won't judge anyone for who wanted that experience, but I do think that the way it was put out was,
I think that's really the issue.
Transparent.
I think most people kind of have, and somebody has the quote from him about this, but I think that the way that he unveiled it, how about I just read the quote? They had disquiet and delightful and feelings from the book that they wouldn't have gotten if I'd spelled the thing out in all its detail ahead of time. This is from the dude, Tim Hutchins. They trusted me, then they trusted my work, and they had open hearts and put in effort. This book is theirs. The folks who refused my warnings and got mad, they didn't trust me, and then they didn't trust the book. What did they think would happen? That's a weird quote for me. That's a weird quote because, you know, when he released the pre-order, it was very vague. It was very cryptic. And this idea of like trust me on this one, you guys, it'll be worth your money. And then people got it and they didn't feel that way. Like, that's on you then, you know, like, it's not like I understand the idea. And I think the idea of it is really wonderful. I think that had he just been upfront and saying, I'm releasing a version of the game that is more in line with the kind of the themes of forgetfulness, of memory, and you can buy this for $54 versus being like, I want you to give me some money. Trust me, y'all. It's gonna be dope. You're gonna love it. And then people getting it. And then when people for him to be like, you know, well, you didn't trust me. So now you're disappointed. You didn't have faith in me. Like, I don't know. Like, it's so, he really bungled this one for me.
Well, I think it's very Emperor's New Clothes. Right? It's just like, oh, you can see it if you are special and you have the eyes and the vision and the creative. I think that in-game design, surprise and delight can be very important tools and experiences that you can play around with if you're going to do so in a responsible and safe way. For me, this definitely touches on issues of privilege, you know, the person to be in a position where they can just put out anything out there and people are going to ooh and ah over it. You know, not everyone is in a place where they can do that, depending on, you know, what kind of person you are, how people perceive you. You could attempt to do something like this and you could get excoriated if you get ripped to shreds for it, right? Because you don't breathe this rarefied air. You know, there's people who will just like throw out a scribbled on roll of toilet paper or whatever, and others will fall over it.
Shout out also to using the word excoriate.
Excoriate. I pulled it back too, because I was like, oh, that might be a little too much.
We love it. We love it.
Vocab words.
I totally agree with that. I think that that there was some transparency issues in that, and this kind of idea that you're gonna love it. You know, he's heard the feedback now. But the book itself, the idea is wonderful. The idea is such a cool art supplement to have, you know, this kind of idea that you look inside the book and the book feels like the character, feels like the lost memory. That's so cool. It just doesn't sound like he handled that very well.
It's kind of, you're at a bookstore, you know, you pick it up, like you do have that thing, you open it, and you're like, wow. And it's almost the thing you need a play test, you know, send it to some of your friends. Like, hey, is this as cool as I think it is in my creator brain? You know, and they're like, yeah, they're like, not really. You know, you pick it up in the bookstore, you're like, wow, I have to have this. Exactly like Monique was saying, you know, this is something that really speaks to my appreciation of this game. Or you pick it up in a bookstore, like I'm just like, oh, this is like 2 seconds flipping through, like, that's kind of cool, but I can't play it. And
to be fair though, this is just a pre-order, you know. I mean, if he's selling it out in bookstores, I don't think it said that he's selling it in bookstores. I think you just order it.
You just order it.
Yeah, well, if it had been in a bookstore, you could pick it up and you could opt into that experience. What he did is had this cryptic pre-order with it, and then people didn't, and apparently some people did really enjoy it. So like, that's good. But I still think having some transparency is a little too cute, you know? Mm-hmm.
It is a little bit too cute. Yeah.
I agree. I think it seems like he did this with his own counsel, or maybe a counsel that lacked some greater insight to how this would come across. And hopefully he'll have more of a sounding board moving forward with his future projects.
Yeah. Speaking of great ideas and great counsel, we've come to the section where the new Warhammer queen, the queen of all the hammers, she's won the great war against all the hammers. Monique, great queen of
we clearly know exactly how this works.
Praise be Monique.
Praise the great queen of the hammer.
Wait, is it a lot of hammers or is it just one really big hammer? I feel like I need clarification.
They're all hers.
I have been reading about all 40,000 hammers.
Oh.
And the first one is named Sean. Sean, the first hammer.
Hammer.
The second one is actually named 12. It's really confusing.
I love that. Love that.
But so far, that's
all 40. The names of all 40,000 hammers.
But I am trying to learn as much as I can about Warhammer these days, and everything that falls under its purview. And one great way that I know I'll be able to do this in the future is that they are starting a media subscription service. So all their content is going to be in-house with Warhammer, called Warhammer Plus. And you can get this on the Warhammer website. And basically what you get, it's a subscription service. You get all the Warhammer, a wealth at least of Warhammer animation, maybe all, but there's definitely an abundance. There's weekly in-house Warhammer hobby shows. So like painting, gameplay, putting things together, which sounds really, really awesome. You get a digital vault of classic Warhammer publications and White Dwarf issues, which is pretty cool. You get full access to the Warhammer apps, and that's Warhammer 40K, Warhammer Age of Sigmar, with more to come. And you also get premium access to their official events, their special exclusive subscriber offers, free Citadel minis worth £25 every year, which is something different in US dollars.
70,000, I think, US dollars.
70,000. Yes.
$70,000 is
that weighs about 25 pounds.
Oh.
Yeah, it's 25 pounds of gold.
Yeah.
That's how UK money works.
Yep.
What? What? No. What?
It's true. And in fact, you could ask our host Matthew on Things Get Dicey for the Gen Con Things Get Dicey stream.
They'll confirm.
They'll confirm.
Guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pounds is in money, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna disassociate for a minute so I can figure this one out, 'cause I'm so lost.
Sorry. So you get a 25-pound miniature every year with the subscription service, or worth at least 25 pounds. It could be
Not
more.
25 pounds as in it weighs 25 pounds.
No,
Like the money.
the money.
Okay. Money.
I'm sorry. Now I see the confusion.
Sorry.
Sorry.
I think what happened is the pound symbol, I don't know where that is on the keyboard. And so someone just wrote out the word pounds. To be transparent, since we're trying to be a news show here, I just looked it up. 25 pounds is currently equal to 34 of the United States dollar. So
the real money, the actual real money. Yes. Great.
Pound sterling. Yes.
Yes. So Warhammer Plus will come with a free exclusive Citadel miniature worth at least $34 every year. So that's really cool, especially for like build those like unique army people. And then you also get access to a second exclusive subscriber miniature. So that is going to be starting at the 25th of this month. It will cost $4.99 or $5.99, or sorry, yes, okay, £4.99 pounds sterling, $5.99 US dollars a month, or $49.99 pounds sterling, or $59.99 US dollars if you do an annual subscription.
Math. sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to say that out loud. I was just...
Listen, I think for the Warhammer community, this really makes a lot of sense. If you're really into the hammers and the wars that goes on with them, I think Sean the Hammer could really appreciate this, and Hammy the Hammer. I mean, it's also really good, right? If you're trying to get into it, because then you have all the stuff kind of in one place, you know?
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of like me trying to decide if I want to subscribe to WWE and their subscription service. Like, how much wrestling media do I really need? Like, but also if you're into Warhammer, you've got a lot of disposable income clearly. So you can also tack on this $6 a month.
Wait, but didn't they did a crackdown on all the YouTube channels, right?
Yes.
Because we had covered that recently. So this is their thing. I do think it's cool, but also like this is their thing. You can't get Warhammer anywhere else. They did the tamp down on that. They're saying like no YouTubes for you, no streams.
Okay,
I don't think you gotta come. You gotta get it from our channel.
I take it all back. This is not actually good.
Well, in some ways it does for a lot of these people, like where when it was available on YouTube, there used to be, if you weren't even into Warhammer, there was somebody who did an individual project of CGI and basically made this masterpiece web series of the Space Marines and, wasn't really seeing any money or profit for it. They got snatched up. And they're like, okay, so it's a way for them to officially go through the channels to get money for the product they made. And it also helps, like, because there is so much to do with Warhammer. Emperor must smile down upon you, especially when they're trying to like, there's a lot more subsidies and other pathways that they're going to. They're just trying to make it more official. And I can understand, especially when we were talking about copyright, they're kind of like, I can see this from a legal, boring perspective of like, hey, we want to make sure that nothing that is, because a lot of things can be taken up by a lot of symbols and stuff can be taken about like companies that they don't, or organizations they don't want to be associated with themselves is the bigger thing. I can see this as a protection against those, a lot of those, also those unfortunate sites like co-opting what is Warhammer, because it is dark. It's very gloomy. It's got a lot of, sadness to it, but that's just, I don't know. That's just my other devil's advocate.
No, I like this devil's advocate bonsai. I love it. You need like a little goatee and a little like mustache. But it's the same sort of a thing like when I make YouTube videos that's about like Marvel stuff and then I get a copyright claim that's like, take it down. And it's just like, but I'm talking about your stuff. Like, it feels like it's a way of sort of tampering fans from doing their own kind of a thing. And that's like what you want. You want your fans to be so engaged that they're creating their own kind of content and not sort of like it all happening underneath this sort of a thing. So it does feel a little bit like they're trying to get more money out of their fans and kind of consolidate to make sure that no one's making money in ways that they don't feel, which is awfully Disney of them, if I could say so myself. But at the same time, it does kind of feel like it's a good way of building community. It's a good way of giving you guys, like Bonsai, like you said, like bringing somebody in who has been a fan of Warhammer, and giving them an official stamp and saying they're part of this, the in-house hobbyist, and having those kinds of things. That's kind of cool. But also like, let the fans do what they got to do. And we all know Warhammer fans, like, they're broke. Let them, I can't decide if Warhammer fans are really, really rich or broke all the time.
Probably a little bit of both.
I have a friend who recently got into Warhammer painting miniatures, and she's doing amazing. She's so cool. But she says, she was really into Lego, and she says, I think I used to have this Lego hobby, and then it just got too expensive, so I joined Warhammer. Like, you are just like you're like little Lego. Sorry. It's okay, but you are piecing like your army whole together. Like, it is like Lego.
This is the thing. This is why we can't do anything except for buy plants, and this is why we can't have kids. This is why
and I could buy plants all day, and my house will look like a graveyard.
Oh no. Oh no.
But Warhammer lasts forever, okay?
Plants are very expensive too. Okay,
That's
I'll
the
have
moral
you
of the
know.
story.
Succulents is also.
So Warhammer is forever. The war never ends. All right, we're gonna go into my favorite part of the show. Besides being here with all of you guys, that wasn't a fart. My chair just creaked. If you heard that. Sorry, I always feel like I have to announce it. I have fought Monique in the Great Warhammer Wars, and I've won my own territory, and I have now crowned myself queen. That's right. I am now the queen of all Kickstarters, and I have decided, hear ye, it's me, the Kickstarter queen. That's right. It happened. And we're going to kick it off.
I'm okay with this.
Okay.
Yes. All hail. All hail.
My queen.
All hail.
I am both terrified and in awe.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's how I take over stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You cool? All right, cool. Monique,
Video
you
season.
have, you have a new Kickstarter for us. Kick it off. This Kickstarter.
I do. Who's ready to get wicked? What? That's right, chat. Who's ready to get wise? What? It's great. Perfect. Because, like, if you like Dragons, Mice, Wicked, Wise, and amazing, awesome trick-taking games, you should definitely be checking out Wicked and Wise by Weird Giraffe Games. That is happening on Kickstarter right now. So it has about 13 days left. It ends Thursday, September 2nd. It's an asymmetric trick-taking game of dragons and mice. So in the game, you're either playing a dragon or a mouse. Cosplay encouraged. And then you can decide whether the mouse is allied with a particular dragon and they're helping manipulate the game. And so it's kind of like with a betrayer, or not a betrayer, it's a bit like a secret ally assistant. What do you call it? Co-conspirator. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm super excited about this one. It's designed by Fortessa Elise, who has recently kickstarted Book of Villainy, which looks amazing, and then is coming out with another game called Mansplaining later on this year. I absolutely loved Fortessa. I think she's a brilliant designer and an incredibly compassionate and fun person. And I'm just super excited to see everything that she does. And I absolutely love Carla of Weird Giraffe Games a lot. Like, just two brilliant people with really beautiful brains coming together to make something that is full of joy for other people. No lose.
I also love the name Fortessa. I've never heard of anybody named Fortessa before, and that's a beautiful name.
Yeah.
It is.
Amazing person all around. I got a chance to play Mansplaining a couple of times. It's in my new favorite game, one of my new favorite games. I never have one favorite at a time, but I'm also good at it. It's a storytelling game where you mansplain things. It's super fun. Yeah, all of these games, super excited about them. Up next, A Kindly World with 11 days left, ending Wednesday, September 1st. Isabella already covered this one in a previous week, but I wanted to touch on it again real quick because I also thought that it looked cool. Just the dark, enchanting art of it, illustrated by Daisuke Nishijima, an award-winning manga artist in Japan, and designed by Taiki Shinzawa. Just little characters with pumpkin heads, and it's a very simple set collection game, push your luck games. You're taking cards off the top of the deck, trying to get the cards you want and collect them. Small box, I can't get enough of these games. It's the same as with the Oink games, just really cute, very interestingly artistic, pushing the boundaries, very different from like a lot of the themes we have coming out of the US and Europe. It's just very repetitive themes, medieval economy, generic fantasy. So just to see some innovation in this space is really cool. And I'm sure it's not innovative in Japan, it's just us seeing it here and the stuff that we're used to and seeing a little trickle of what's coming out of there and being super excited about it. But I think you should check out A Kindly World if those things sound fun to you.
Coming up in a completely different direction, I've got Monsters and More 4, which is an art book for people who are degenerates like me, who want to smooch a monster. This ends on Tuesday, September 14th. This is the 4th installment in the Monsters Lover series. If you are like me and you are playing your little games and you're playing your little orcs and your little, your little demons and stuff like that, that. And then there's like, you want to fight this demon? And then I go, no, I want to smooch that demon. This is the comic book series for you. This is an art book. It's filled with different kinds of illustrations, comics, stories. It's really incredible. This is the 4th installment. There's 70 pages inside of it. You can get also the other 3 books for a discounted price. I'm trying to remember what's the name of a person who's really into monsters. It's like Teratophile, something like that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Don't leave me out here.
Let me Google this really quick.
I was gonna say furry. Is that
no? That's different.
No. But respect to the furries out there. I see y'all are doing great. So
valid. Good.
But yeah.
Teratophile.
There you go.
Thank you. That was from our behind.
Wow,
the
that's
scenes.
a quick draw from Arthur, just on the tip of the tongue.
I'm not going to ask questions about that, Arthur. We're going to talk about it later. Teratophile, all those other Teratophiles out there who really like reading about stories of monsters falling in love and smooching and stuff like that. This one also, though, is not safe for work. It is 18 plus. So make sure that you have an adult who can
Don't
purchase
click
this
the
for
link
you.
unless you are of age.
18 plus.
Yeah.
Of age.
It's for adults. And I feel like I really wanted to put this one out there, not only because of the fact that OnlyFans is ending this week and I have a lot of feelings about it, but we're moving in a culture that doesn't like to discuss sexuality and stuff like that. And so I feel like I got to do my part in talking about it more and making us feel more comfortable. You can get all kinds of different kind of prints, postcards, stickers, and things like that. So yes, please check out this art book, Monsters and More 4, Volume 4 by Koei as well.
Excuse me.
The next one that I've got is the Forest NB Tarot. This ends Sunday, September 5th. This one, I love tarot cards. I love tarot decks. I love games that employ tarot. It's like one of my favorite things. And this one is a tarot deck that includes non-binary forest creatures, y'all. This is the most adorable thing I've ever seen in my entire life. There's a full suite, 78 cards of different kinds of non-binary. The art is so adorable and so whimsical. And like, you know, sometimes you just want to see like animals from the forest who have not been placed onto a binary, you know? Sometimes I watch movies and I'm like, how do I know that's a girl fish? Oh, because she has like a curvy body and long eyelashes. That's lame. Okay, stop putting binaries on your animated characters. All right. I love it because the suites also have different themes. The Suite of Wands is done with rabbits with hairs. Swords is represented by bats. The cups cards are represented by cats, and the pentacles are represented by chickens, which I just love. You also have the option of getting a handmade journal as well, which looks really beautiful. It's handmade, which each and every, if you buy it, then you get a handmade journal just for you. So you can write down all of your different kind of tarots and your readings and things like that. It comes with, you can get a tarot cloth as well, which also has a beautiful illustration on it, a sticker pack, and prints as well from the cards are optional buying choices. This looks really beautiful. And if you're into kind of foresty, Brian Froud kind of stuff, then you'll also really love this as well. So this ends Sunday, September 5th. It's by Binks Olson, which is a great name as well. A lot of great names today. The Forest NB Tarot card deck. The last one that I've got is called Dungeon Degenerates, which sign me up. Hand of Doom, which ends Monday, August 25th. I love this because of the fact that it's made by a group called Goblinko. They're out of Portland, Oregon. If you aren't familiar with Goblinko, they have like a very distinct style to them. If you remember maybe you were a preteen and you went to your parents dropped you off at the mall, and your mom and dad were like, here you go, here's $40, you go spend that at Spencer's Gifts, and you went to your local Spencer's Gifts and you bought a blacklight photo. That's kind of the vibe. It's like, that one friend that you had whose room was always mysteriously smoky, and they were always playing, doom metal and things like that, and they had a lot of blacklight posters. This gives you those vibes, which I really, really love, because it reminds me a lot of being a teenager in Texas. So Hand of Doom is really, really cool. I'll just read for you a little bit of the blurb. It puts players into the boots of hardened criminal adventurers escaping from the dungeons of Brutalberg into a deranged, demented, dark fantasy world of swords, sausages, and sorcery. Players attempt to make their way through a series of interconnected, weird, nasty, and mysterious adventures as the world of Warstrak gets progressively more dangerous and the Hand of Doom descends. I also love this because there's an anime called Furikuri, and the whole thing was that there was a giant hand that was descending slowly over the town in Furikuri. And when the hand reaches it was like an iron, that it was like the end of the world. And this reminds me a lot of that, like this gigantic hand that's slowly coming down. I also really quickly, I'm going to try to read everything that's in this game box, which is crazy. So you get a full game board. You get 8 playable adventure character cards, which come with their own items and abilities. You get standees and stands of each adventurer, 150 monster cards divided into 5 decks, 60 encounter cards divided into 4 decks, 12 epic monster cards, 84 loot cards, 12 epic loot cards, 28 doom cards, 36 skill cards, 36 danger cards, 14 triumph cards, 24 weakness cards. You get 6 dice. You get 300 plus counters and the Hand of Doom. You get a 36-page book of rules and a 20-page page of the mission and 2 reference cards. What more can they do and pack in there? What do you want inside of there? A ham sandwich? A hug from mom? What more can they put in there? This is a great game. You can play it solo, or if you have 4 friends, or if you feel like just kidnapping people off the streets as well and putting them in your house. I'm not saying that that's a crime. Don't do that. I can't say that. But maybe they'll be your friends afterwards. Who knows? It can be played cooperatively and competitively. It's recommended for ages 16 and plus, and it has medium difficulty. So if you're new to this world, maybe it's not for you. But if you're a weirdo like myself and a degenerate who's into monster smooching, this probably is for you. So yeah, that is Dungeon Degenerates Hand of Doom, the 4th printing of this as well, by the way. Monday, August 25th. Also, check out their page because they have so many other things that can go along with this as well, including zines. There's like books. There's extra booster packs. I don't know what more they could do for you, okay, for you to give them your money. So do it.
All right. Woo. For the last Kickstarter. Yeah, I was get that because it's a lot. You get your money's worth. Also, for the last Kickstarter that we have today is a Kickstarter that isn't actually out yet, but I want to go ahead and make some noise about it so you can put it on your wish list, watch it come out. It's called Quiz RPG. So imagine, everyone's a fan of Sailor Moon, but imagine instead of this is just based off of a manga series created by a queer Japanese artist named Isago Fukuda. It is a comic series that is kind of like, imagine Sailor Moon with a whole diverse cast of characters, but Sailor Moon with superpowers, but they're LGBTQA+, and they go on missions to thwart the evil schemes of villainous bigots. And if that sounds appealing to you, well, guess what? There's going to be an RPG, tabletop RPG based off of that manga, and it's powered by the City of Mist. So the whole idea is that you are a fierce, posing force of awesome people who love is great and love has all equal, no equals, and just you fight prejudice. That's it. If you just want to go around and punch bigots in the face, with magical sparkles. And if that game appeals to you, go ahead and get it. It's Queer's RPG, and it is coming soon to Kickstarter.
Yeah. So hit that notification button, slap it, that notification button tenderly on Kickstarter. All right, you guys, that is the last of our Kickstarters. I feel like we should all sing the goodbye song. You remember how this all goes, right, everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the goodbye song.
You say.
No, that's copyrighted.
Okay, sorry.
We just went over this.
Right. Sorry, wrong goodbye song.
Goodbye. Come on, everybody, join me. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Not
Goodbye.
leaving.
Not
Coming
leaving.
back
We're coming
Coming
back.
back.
for new stuff.
More new stuff.
And you can stick around for that. We're coming back. We've got Monday, 6 p.m. board games with the Brothers Move. We got Wednesday, 10 a.m. This game gets dicey, girl. Friday, 2 p.m. Tabletops with your best friends. Remember, follow, subscribe, turn on the notifications. If you wanna get the next down when we count down, and you're gonna see the tabletops, and you wanna hang out with your best friends. And if you miss us, you don't have to miss us, cause you can still find most of our streams on YouTube. Just one day later, baby girl, you're so beautiful with your beautiful eyes. And you're watching us with your beautiful eyes, girl, and they're blue and brown and hazel, girl. If you want to connect with other Gen Con fans, check out our official Discord. We want to thank you, girl. Thank you to the viewers. Thank you.
Mic drop.
Remember the song that we all sing? Thank you. To Bonsai.
Thank you.
Thank you to Emma. Thank you. And thank you to Mooney, the freak. And I want to thank Arthur, and I want to thank everybody that's helping us in the back. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope to see you back next week. Stay safe, girl. Get a vaccination. Wear your mask, wash your hands, love each other, touch some grass. We'll see you next time on TableTakes. And we sing goodbye.